We're now moving on to Chapter 7. In this chapter, we're going to look at 3 different ways of collecting data. First, we're going to look at surveys, and then experiments and observational studies. So for the first few sections, we're just going to concentrate on surveys. Researchers use a method called sampling to gather data for a survey. So let's look at that. The population in a statistical study is the entire group of individuals that we want information about. A sample is a part of the population from which we actually collect information that is used to draw conclusions about the whole. And sampling refers to the process of choosing a sample from the population. So let's look at a few examples first. So here are some examples of populations and samples. Let's say a political scientist wants to know what percentage of college students consider themselves to be conservatives. The population here, or the people that they want to know about, is all college students. And the sample that they might survey could be 100 random students from a selection of 10 colleges. So they would ask those 100 random students whether they consider themselves to be conservative or not, and given their answers, they could draw a conclusion about all college students. Another example, an automaker hires a market research firm to learn what percentage of adults aged 18 to 35 recall seeing television advertisements for a new sport utility vehicle. So here the population, the people that the automaker wants to know about, are all adults aged 18 to 35. This is probably in whatever area the commercial is playing on television, so it could be the whole United States if it's playing on national television. And their sample might be 500 random adults in an average town. So they could go to some town and just knock on people's doors and ask them if they've seen this commercial, if they remember seeing it on TV, and then using that information they would guess how many adults in the entire U.S. would remember seeing it on TV. Finally, government economists can inquire about average household income for Americans. So here the population would be all American households. That's what they're interested in learning about. And the sample might be 10,000 random households across all 50 states. So they could either call or mail out a survey to ask households what their average income is, and then use that information to guess what the average household income for all Americans is. Here's another example. How can a survey measure unemployment? So we're going to look at some other important issues that come up when you're defining your population and asking questions in a survey. So the monthly unemployment rate comes from the current population survey, which is a sample of about 50,000 households each month conducted by the Census Bureau. So first, the Census Bureau has to decide what their population is. Who are they going to count when they're looking at unemployment rates? Well, they decided that they want to look at all U.S. residents, whether they're citizens or not. And they also want to consider everyone who is 16 years of age and over. So that's what they consider the working age for this study. And they're going to include people who are civilians, so not people who are in the military, and also people who are not in an institution such as a prison. So they've narrowed down what they mean by population when they're looking at unemployment rates. So they also have to decide what exactly they mean by unemployed, because if you ask someone just if they're unemployed, they could mean different things when they answer that by what they think about as unemployed. So they've defined it pretty narrowly here, and they're going to ask actually 4 questions to figure out whether you are unemployed or not. So first, were you available to work, and did you look for work in the past 4 weeks? Second, did you do no work for pay in the week of the survey? If you did unpaid work for a family business, did you do no more than 15 hours of unpaid work? And did you miss work for other reasons, such as vacation, strike, illness, or some other reason? So to be unemployed, You have to have been available and also looking for work in the past month. You have to have done no work for pay in the week of the survey, and also no more than 15 hours of unpaid work for a family business, and have not missed work for other reasons. So then they can really tell who they mean by unemployed. So this is a short section. Things you should know here. You should know the definition of the population of a survey, which is the group of people that the survey is trying to get information about. You should know the definition of a sample. So a sample is going to be some subgroup that they actually ask the survey to find out information about the entire population. And you should be able to identify the population of a study and determine a reasonable sample if you're given an example of a survey.